treating types of analogies. This type of analogy is known as part to a whole or a whole to a part relationship. This type of relationship you see quite often in analogy questions. Now, this relationship is usually noun to noun variety, but it has two types. One thing is an individual unit of a larger group. For example, we have flower is to bouquet, which is a group name for flowers. You can see that a flower is a part of a whole, which is a bouquet. And the flip side is that we have the whole to part relationship. It can also be that bouquet is to flower. So we have the whole to part relationship. If you are faced with this kind of relationship, be very, very careful to determine that it is part to whole relationship and not whole to part relationship. Because in the options, you might see options that have whole to part relationships in part to whole questions. Remember, you are also dealing with identifying types of relationships. So make sure to use the 3 steps which you have discussed in identifying parts or types of analogies. Another thing is something is a specific type to a more general grouping. We are still discussing whole to part and part to whole relationships. Now, something is a specific of a general grouping. For example, rice is to grain. So rice is a type of grain. Grain is a general classification for cereals, hence rice. Another example is when you say baseball is to sport as biology is to dash. We all know that baseball is a type of sport. It's also a small part of the general category of sports. Hence the options: A, microscope; B, school; C, plant; and D, science. If you don't examine the relationship between baseball and sports at first, you might be tempted to pick choice A or choice C, which is microscope or plant. Now, but at a glance of the primary relationship between baseball and sports, it means that, or it tells you that baseball is a type or is one of the many kinds of sports. Therefore, biology is one of the many kinds of science, not a type of school and not a type of plant. Choice D, which is science, is your answer. Another type of relationship in analogy is the degree. A degree relationship shows objects or concepts that are basically similar, except that they can be bigger, taller, smaller, shorter, older, newer, or more intense, less intense, or so on than the other. Remember, degree. It shows degree. For instance, rage is a more intense degree of an emotion than anger. In another instance, a pair of shorts is an item of clothing with 2 legs that are shorter than the length of trousers with 2 legs. Hence, you can see the degree. For example, look at this question. Fond is to infatuated, as enthusiastic is to dash. A, fanatical; B, apathetic; C, cautious; or D, realistic. To be fond of something is to have a warm feeling towards it. To be infatuated with something is to be obsessed. Therefore, to be infatuated is to have a much more intense feeling than being fond. To apply this sentence to the third word, enthusiastic is to what? To be enthusiastic is of a lesser degree than fanatical, which is of a greater degree. Hence the answer A, fanatical. In our next video, we will be treating more types of relationships to help you answer questions on analogies.